Hi guys, my name is Leah and I love to do volunteering. I went to South Africa in 2022, 2023 and 2024, and the beginning of 2025 I went to Tanzania for the first time to do volunteering in 2 different places. And besides all the great experiences that I made during my volunteering, this time there's also a very scary story about scamming, and this is the story that I want to share with you today in order to make you to be aware of what can happen, and in the end I want to give you some tips how to avoid getting scammed, how I got scammed. Let's start from the very beginning. So end of October 2024 I started doing volunteering in South Africa in different schools and daycare centers for around 8 weeks. And after that, I moved on to Tanzania. In Tanzania, it was planned to do volunteering in 2 different cities, first in Arusha and then in Dar es Salaam. So when I arrived in Arusha, everything was fine. The organization was well organized, people were humble and welcoming. We were a lot of volunteers working in different orphanages, and it was a really great experience. There's a lot of nature around in Arusha and many activities to do, so we volunteers really had a great time there, and I can highly recommend Arusha as city for volunteering in Tanzania. So during my stay in Arusha, I made a lot of local friends, and since it was holiday season, some of these friends that I met in Arusha are originally from Dar es Salaam. So when I moved on from Arusha to Dar es Salaam, I had some friends there already. And these friends are the people who actually saved me from everything that happened in Dar es Salaam in the end. When I arrived at the airport in Dar es Salaam, 2 people from the organization KIVOLEX came to pick me up from the airport. But instead of taking me to the volunteer house, they took me to a hostel. But when I applied for volunteering for KIVOLEX, they sent me a lot of beautiful pictures of a very huge volunteer house. I got a lot of information about the environment, about the surrounding, about the food that they will cook for us, and so on and so far. So I asked these people, I was like, why are you taking me to a hostel? So where's the volunteer house? And their answer was that there's some construction going on at the volunteer house, and that they will take me to the volunteer house after 2 days, so on Monday. I arrived on Saturday and they said Saturday, Sunday I have to stay in that hostel, and then on Monday they will take me to the volunteer house. So I was like, okay, if it's like that, it's fine. But then I asked, okay, so are the other volunteers also in that hostel, or where are the other volunteers? And I couldn't really get a proper answer, because the answer was like, yeah, I don't know if there are other volunteers right now, and I don't know where they stay. And I was like, how come that you don't know if there are other volunteers when you are working for that organization? But I couldn't really get a proper answer. And then in the evening, they told me, okay, let's go for dinner. I was like, okay. So we went for dinner, but I had to pay for my food. I was like, no, it's not supposed to be like this, because food was included in the program fee that I paid. So it's not supposed to be like this, that I have to pay for food again. So I texted the person who was responsible for all of this, because he always texted me on WhatsApp before. So I just texted him. I was like, hey, please, from tomorrow on, provide for food, because it's included in the program fee. It's not supposed to be like this, that I have to pay again. And then he texted me back, no, food is not included for this and that reason, and we dropped the program fee, and from now on you have to pay for your own food. And I was like, no, because when I paid, food was still included, because I paid in March. And then he sent me the website. Yeah, you can check on that website, it's not included anymore, and it's really written there that it's not included. But then I also had my proofs, the emails and everything that they sent to me, and I was like, no, you see, when I paid, it was still included. And then he was like, okay, we will sort that out once we meet tomorrow. And then I was like, okay. So from the moment on where I entered that hostel until I said, hey, I want to go to sleep, these two people who picked me up from the airport, they were like bodyguards in my room to give me like company. And the same on Sunday. They came in the morning around 9, and then they spent the whole day with me until like very late at night again. But on Sunday, this person who's responsible for all of this did not come. We did not talk. Nothing happened. I had to pay for food again. Yeah, that was the Sunday then. On Monday, finally, my volunteering started. And I actually got breakfast. I got one chapati for breakfast. And after that, they took me to the school where I will be teaching for the next four weeks. The school was really nice. People were humble. The kids were very cute. It was really nice. I really liked the school and the environment there. So in the morning when they took me there, they said, okay, after you are done for today, we will go to the volunteer house. I was like, okay, good. So after work, they picked me up and they took me back to that hostel. And I was like, no, man, what's going on now? You said you will take me to the volunteer house. And then this person said, yeah, but the person who is responsible for all of this, who told me that he will come see me on Sunday, and then he didn't come, he wants to personally take you there. And I was like, okay, but when is he coming? And then this person said, I don't know when he's coming. So we were literally waiting until 6 in the evening. Then I was like, no man, this guy is not coming. I know that he's not coming. He didn't come Saturday. He didn't come Sunday. So today he will not come again. So please just take me to the volunteer house. And then this person was like, yeah, okay, then let's go. So we left, and I was so happy to leave that hostel because there was no warm water in that hostel. There was no kitchen, so I can't cook at all. There was nothing. There was only a bed and a bathroom, and that's it. I can't wash my clothes. I can't cook. I can't do anything there. So I was really happy to leave. So we left, but again, instead of taking me to the volunteer house, they dropped me at a random house. A family was sitting there who didn't even really greet me. It looked like they didn't even know that I'm coming. I don't know. It was a very weird situation. And then they dropped me there and they were like, yeah, this is your room. But in that room, there was no proper mosquito net. There was no fan that was working proper. It was very dirty. There were spiders, huge spiders everywhere. And I was like, no, I absolutely can't do that. I paid for the volunteer house. So what's really going on here? I can't stay here at all. And then again, they said, okay, let's go for dinner. We went for dinner. I had to pay for my dinner again. And I texted this person again. I was like, I don't know what's going on. I don't know if you really plan to meet me one day. But I paid for the volunteer house. So why are you taking me first to a hostel and then to a random family? It can't be like this. And then he texted me back, yeah, I'm sorry about that, but at the volunteer house, there's some major construction going on because you're the only volunteer now. So we did some major construction, so it's not possible that you stay at the volunteer house. And I was like, yeah, but why can't you communicate that with me? Why are you taking me from hostel to a random family without talking to me or asking me for my opinion, what I want or what I expect and so on. And then I said, you know what, please just give me my money back, because I paid 3 million Tanzanian shillings, which is a lot of money. It's $1,200 for 4 weeks for accommodation, program fee and food. And I don't get food, I don't get the accommodation. So I was like, just give me my money back and I want to leave. I don't know what's going on. I don't care what's going on. Please give me my money. I want to leave. And then he was like, yeah, please stay at that house for 1 night and tomorrow we can transfer you back to the hostel where you stayed before. I was like, no, I don't want to stay at that hostel. Please give me my money back and I will leave. In the end, obviously, he did not agree on giving me my money back. So he was like, yeah, we will take you back to that hostel. And then I was like, okay, fine, because I didn't have a choice and it was absolutely impossible to stay at that random house where I don't know these people, I don't know what's going on. So I was like, okay, the hostel is the better option in that case. So I had to stay there for 1 night. I only slept 2 hours. It was the most horrible night of my life. So in the morning, I didn't get breakfast. I went to school. I worked there. After I finished there, they took me back to that hostel. So that was the Tuesday then. And I actually got something for dinner. But again, this person who is responsible for all of this, he did not come to talk to me or to welcome me or to check if I'm okay or not. So literally he told me Saturday, Sunday, Monday and Tuesday that he will come to see me, but he just never came. In the evening, he sent me a message. He was like, please Leah, send me a picture of your passport, a picture of your visa, a passport size picture of yourself and your CV. And even that was weird again, because I was like, I applied for that volunteering in March. So he had so many months to ask for these documents, and now he's asking after I started volunteering already. But I sent it to him because I had to send it to him. And then I texted the boss of the organization in Arusha, because in the end we were actually very close, because he's a really, really nice person. And I told him some of the stories that happened already, and he was like, Leah, something is wrong there. If you can, you should leave. And then I was like, yeah, but I was tired, I was exhausted because I didn't sleep at all the night before, and I was like, okay, let me just fix these things tomorrow. So on Wednesday, I got breakfast, I went to school, they provided lunch for me, and I actually also got dinner. So I was like, okay, so maybe things are getting better. So I still tried to cope with the situation. I was like, yeah, maybe there's a reason for all of this, and maybe this guy will really come to talk to me and explain the situation to me and so on and so forth. So I still believed he will come one day. Wednesday again, he didn't come. So Thursday I went to work as usual again, and yeah, still nothing happened. I texted him again. I was like, hey, can you please come, let's talk and so on and so far, but he was just like, I'm not around. So Friday I was like, okay, I think I cannot stay in that hostel alone over the weekend, because I felt like it's not safe there, because these people who picked me up from the airport, they were like my bodyguards. They were always there when I was there. So I was like, I don't really know if it's safe here when these people are there for my safety all the time and to give me company. It's just, I didn't feel safe. So I texted my friends and I was like, this and that is going on. Can I please come over the weekend to stay at your place? And these people, they were like, yeah, of course you can come, you can come. So more or less I disappeared from Friday to Sunday and spent the weekend at that friend's place that I met in Arusha before. So I told them the whole story, and my friends were like, okay, Leah, show us where you're staying. And then I showed them a picture, because I took a picture of the entrance, and they were like, this is where you're staying. And I was like, yeah, this is where I'm staying. And then these friends, they were like, yeah, but Leah, that's not a hostel. And I was like, so what is it then? And then they were like, yeah, that's like a guest house for local people to just have fun there for 2 hours, and then they are leaving again. And then everything started to make sense. These people who are there for my safety all the time, and then these like people that I don't know moving in and out and in and out. All of this made sense, and I was like, it's a guest house for people to have fun for a few hours, and it's me as a volunteer who stays in the middle of all of this. And I was like, there's no way that I can stay at that hostel, because then I started panicking. I was like, it's not safe there. Yeah, I was like, I can't, I absolutely can't. And then we tried to Google that hostel. There's no website of that hostel. When you check on Google Maps, it's not even, you can't find it at all. It's a normal house. It's not written there that it's a hostel or something. So when you Google it, it's actually not existing. So it was really, really, really scary. And I was like, oh my God, I don't know what's going on here at all. But Sunday I didn't have a choice, so I went back to that hostel. And Monday I went to school again. I literally waited the whole Monday again for this person who's responsible for all of this to come and see me, because I texted him on Sunday and I was like, I don't know what's going on. Please come and talk to me and explain the situation to me, or please come and give me my money back so that I can actually leave, because everything here just doesn't make sense to me and I want to know what's really going on. And then I even texted him. I was like, if you don't come to see me and if you don't come to talk to me, then I don't have a choice. I have to go to the embassy to get help from someone, because something is wrong here and I don't know what. And the answer of this guy was like, okay, then go to the embassy. And I was like, that's very weird. So why can't you just come and talk to me? Something is very, very wrong here. And then I googled about the embassy and so on and so far, and found out that they can not really help me, because they can only help me to find a lawyer or something, but that's not what I needed in that moment, right? So I texted my friends again. I was like, I don't know what I'm supposed to do. And then they were like, yeah, Leah, you should just book a different hostel for yourself and leave that guest house or whatever it is, because it's not safe there. But I didn't have money, because I paid for this accommodation already for the volunteer house, which is not even existing, right? So I didn't have money for a different hostel now. So I contacted my parents, and my parents were like, okay, it's not a problem at all. We will just book a different hostel for you. And I was like, okay. So they booked a different hostel for me. But I knew that I cannot leave alone, because I have a lot of bags and stuff. So I texted one of these people who picked me up from the airport, because one person, I don't trust him at all. I think he knew all of this, what was going on there. But the other person, he was not directly employed by KIVOLEX. He was just the driver, right? So I was like, okay, let me trust him. So I texted him and I told him, I need your help. I want to leave. Please come with your car and take me to that other hostel. And then he was like, okay, I'm coming. And then he came and he was like, Leah, we cannot leave with all your bags. And I was like, why can we not leave with all my bags? And then he was like, you just have to trust me. Please only take your passport, take your money, take your phone, and leave like this. I was like, no, I want to leave with all my bags. I want to leave. I don't want all of this anymore. So I started panicking, because I didn't know what was going on there. Then he was like, please, Leah, just trust me. Only take a very small bag and leave like this. So I literally didn't have a choice. So I packed a small bag and we left like this. We tried to leave like this. So when we passed that woman who was responsible for that hostel or guest house or whatever it is, she was like, you're not allowed to leave. And I was like, okay. And then this guy who helped me to escape, more or less, he was like, no, we are not going to leave. We just visit some friends. And then she was like, no, I know that you're leaving and you're not allowed to leave. And then he said again, no, we are just visiting friends. We are coming back. And then she grabbed my keys. I was holding the keys for my room in my hand. She grabbed my keys. She went to my room. She opened my room to check if there are still some bags there. Saw that all my bags are there. And then she was like, ah, okay, so you're really coming back. Then you're allowed to leave now. And then she gave me back my keys and we were allowed to leave. I was like, what is really going on here? That's so weird. Why am I not allowed to go wherever I want to go? It's like I'm not in a prison or something. I'm doing volunteering here. I can go wherever I want to go. So I checked in at that other hostel with only this small bag, right? And then I went back to my friend's place and I told him the story. I was like, I really don't know what's going on. It's very weird, this and that happened. And then one of my friends said, okay, Leah, you know what? Tonight we are going there, we are taking your bags, and then we disappear. And I was like, no, I know that we can't do that. You were not there, you don't understand how it was there. We can't get my bags. So I was really in panic. I was really in panic. And then he was like, no, relax, we will take your bags and we will leave, you will see. And I was like, okay. So I stayed with them until around 10 at night. And at 10 we went back to that hostel. So we entered there, we wanted to take my bags, and this woman, she was again, you're not allowed to leave. And then this guy was like, no, you cannot keep a woman there. How come? She can go wherever she wants to go. But then they were talking their language, so I don't really know what they said, right? Because I don't speak Swahili. But they were discussing, and I was like, oh my god, what's going on? Why am I not allowed to leave? I was really in panic. I didn't know what was going on at all. And then my friend, he called his uncle for help. So this uncle came to rescue me, more or less. This uncle came, then they were discussing, then they even said, yeah, we are going to call the police. And then my friends were like, yeah, you can call the police because you are the one here who's keeping someone in a room and she's not allowed to leave. How come? So obviously they did not call the police because it makes no sense for them to call the police because they are doing wrong. So in the end they were discussing, then they called the person who checked me in that hostel, right? Which was the one who picked me up from the airport, the one that I don't trust at all. And then he was like, no, I'm not responsible for this. You have to contact the founder of that organization, right? But he was not available. Even this person who picked me up from the airport, he tried to reach this person who's responsible for all of this, and he couldn't reach him at all. So he literally he was not available at all. And I was like, no man, I'm leaving. And in the end, finally, they let me leave. But it took like 2 hours or something until I was finally gone with all my bags and everything. So I was really done that day. I was really done. I even told my friend, I was like, I can't sleep at all. Please stay at my place because I'm in panic now that someone will come look for me or what. So the next day I went to school again to work because I really love the work there. I love the kids, I love the people there. So I went there and I wanted to find out a few things. So I talked to the principal and I was like, can you please tell me, so what is the link between you and KIVOLEX? How does this work? Is KIVOLEX always bringing volunteers to your school or how is it? And then she told me that I'm the first volunteer at that school ever, which is very weird because, yeah, it's just very, very weird that I'm the first volunteer ever. And then I asked her, what do you know about that person who's responsible for all of this? And then she said she doesn't know anything about him because he only came there the day before I started working there. He came there the day before I started working there to ask if they need a volunteer. And then she said, yeah, we need a volunteer. And that's how he organized my workspace. But I applied in March for this volunteering. And after I arrived, he's organizing work for me. That's actually, that's very weird. And then I told her the story, everything that happened, and I was like, yeah, I told him, please come talk to me, and so on and so forth. And he was like, no, just go to the embassy. And then she was like, yeah, I also tried to call him several times, and he only picked up the phone once. And she told him that he's supposed to check up on me. Even before we talked, she called him and said, it's very weird that you're not checking up on your volunteer. What's wrong? But he told her the same. He was like, yeah, I'm not around. So yeah, that was literally the conversation that I had with that principal. After that conversation with that principal, I tried to do some more research because everything was just weird, and I wanted answers. I wanted to know what's really going on here. So I did some more research just to find out that even the homepage of that organization is fake, like very fake. There were 2 people mentioned as founders of KIVOLEX, 2 people from the US, but these people are not even the actual founders, because the person who's responsible for all of this, and the person who always texted me on WhatsApp and so on and so far, he is the one who's mentioned as social worker on that website, but he's the actual founder of KIVOLEX. And people know him, people around him, they know him as founder of KIVOLEX. But on that website, he's mentioned as social worker, and some people from the US are mentioned as founder of KIVOLEX, which doesn't make sense at all. And also, there's a picture of these people who are the founder, and there's a picture of him and a description. But the picture of him is not him. It's a completely different picture, because when you check on Instagram or Facebook, the pages of KIVOLEX, you can actually see this person almost in every picture. And when you compare these pictures on the Facebook and Instagram page and on the website, you can see that it's not matching at all. Like, it's a completely different person. I don't even, like, it's completely different. I was like, oh my God, something is like more than wrong here, like very, 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 very wrong. And the next day, actually, this person who's responsible for all of this, he sent me a termination letter, and he was like, yeah, you got kicked out of the program because of you moving out, and we tried to find you and we cannot find you, and what, which doesn't make sense at all, because all of them, they have my number. Nobody texted me, nobody called me, so nobody tried to find me. He was just talking. He was like, yeah, I wanted to meet you, but you were not there, which is not even true, because everybody knows that he was not in town, because he told everyone that he's not in town. So how come that now he's looking for me? So he sent the termination letter, and then the principal from that school was like, he cannot send a termination letter without asking me, because I'm working at the school, right? And he just sent me a termination letter without asking the principal of the school for her opinion. She was like, hey, I didn't even know about this. He didn't call me. He didn't tell me anything. If I would have not told her the whole story, she would have not, like, she would have not known, like, anything. It just came out of the blue. And then she was like, no, Leah, we have to do something now. And I was like, okay. And then she was like, okay, Leah, what do you want to do? And I was like, I think I actually should go to the police, because what if other volunteers have to go through the same, and they don't have friends in Dar es Salaam who can come to rescue them? I mean, if my friends would have not came there to rescue me, who would have rescued me? Nobody. So I was like, I don't want any other volunteers to go through this, so I want to go to the police. So I called that friend of mine who came that day to rescue me. I was like, please come, we have to go to the police, because the police is not speaking English, so I needed someone from Tanzania to go with me to translate. So we went to the police, but the police there, they said, okay, we can open a case actually, but it will take a very, very long time. And then I was like, yeah, okay, I have to think about that. And he was like, yeah, we can open a case and we can just see what happens. I was like, yeah, okay. And when we wanted to leave, there were 2 police officers. So when we wanted to leave, one of these police officers, he stopped my friend and he was like, please just save my number. And then my friend saved the number of this police officer. So I was like, okay, maybe he wants some money and then he's helping us, right? Because the police there is very corrupt. So I was like, maybe he heard how much money this person who's responsible for all of this took from me. 3 million Tanzanian shillings, right? So maybe he thought he can get some interest if he's helping us. So I was like, okay, it's fine. So in the evening, this police officer, he called my friend and he was like, yeah, I can help you off duty. And then my friend was like, okay, cool, let's make a plan. And then they were like, okay, we talk the next day. But the next day at night, this police officer called my friend again. And he literally said, it's not my words. I'm usually not talking like this. But he literally said word by word, I have never been that close to a white woman before. Let me just f her and then I will help you. And then my friend was like, we are not doing something like that. Not at all. So we just cut that contact and obviously didn't get help then, right? But that's absolutely not how police should work, right? So more or less I had to give up on all of this, because literally there's no one who can help us. The embassy cannot help us, the police cannot help us. We can't find this person who's responsible for all of this at all. He's just hiding, he just ran away with my money. So for the rest of my stay there, I had to move from hostel to hostel to hostel to hostel, because then people started like, yeah, but what if this guy is looking for you, because now you involved police, and what if he's dangerous, and you should leave that country as fast as possible. But it was too expensive to change the flights just like this, because I lost a lot of money already, because he just ran away with my money, right? So I was like, no, I can't just spend another, I don't know how many hundreds of euros to change my flights. So I actually finished my volunteering there, because I still went to work, because at school everything was fine, everyone was nice, I loved to work there. So I moved from hostel to hostel to hostel to hostel and still went to work for the rest of my stay there. When I checked the Instagram and the Facebook page of KIVOLEX again, I saw that he even posted a picture of me at the airport, mentioning my full name, like first name and last name, and even the country where I'm from, being like, yeah, this is our new volunteer, what. And then he posted a video of me eating local food, because on my first day when we went out for dinner, we ate some local food and they took a video. I don't know how he found that video. Maybe one of these 2 guys who picked me up from the airport sent it to him, I don't know. But he posted that video saying, yeah, happy volunteer, what. But he didn't even ask me for my permission if he's allowed to post me on Facebook and on Instagram, and I never signed anything. Like, I was like, please delete me from your page, because I don't want to be seen on your pages. I don't want it all. After everything that happened, you can't post me there as a happy volunteer enjoying the time there. I'm not enjoying anything here. And he got that message, he read that message, but instead of deleting these pictures, he just blocked me everywhere. He blocked me on WhatsApp, he blocked me on Instagram, he blocked me on Facebook, he blocked me everywhere. But lucky enough, I was able to write a review on Facebook, so my review is still there. Yeah, at least this is something that I did before he started blocking me everywhere. I don't know what was really wrong with all of this. I still did not get the answers that I wanted. It's just a very, very scary and very weird story. And moreover, the principal told me that she did not get the money that she was supposed to get from the person who's responsible for all of this, and also the person who picked me up from the airport. Both of them, they did not get paid. So literally this person who's responsible for all of this, he did not only scam me, he scammed his people that are working for him. He scammed the principal of that school. So it's very crazy. The whole story is very crazy. And in conclusion, everything about this whole organization KIVOLEX is very weird, because they sent me pictures of a volunteer house. Then I come there, the volunteer house is not even existing. I come there to work, but they organize my workspace after I arrived already. I'm the first volunteer at that school ever. I'm the only volunteer there. I'm staying in a hostel, then at a house, then at the hostel. Like, it's everything there is very, very weird, and I don't know what was really his plan. I never saw him. He never appeared. There are like 5 different numbers of this guy. The school has a different number to the numbers that I have. I have 2 different numbers of this guy. Then at the homepage there's a completely different number. So everything about this whole KIVOLEX thing is very, very, very suspicious. The website was fake pictures. Everything was just very, very suspicious, very scary. And in the moment where I realized that I cannot really help myself, because the embassy can't help me, the police doesn't help me, my family at home, they can't help me, nobody can really help me in that situation except for the friends who I met in Arusha before. I never felt desperate or helpless like this in my whole life, like never. And on top of that, the panic inside me, because people keep me somewhere where I don't want to be, and I don't know why I'm not allowed to leave, and so on. It was a really tough time. And sometimes, even now when I'm safe, sometimes I wake up at night feeling in the same way that I felt when I was imprisoned in that hostel. So it actually was a really tough time and really bad experience. The reason why it was important to me to share my story is that I don't want anyone to go through the same as I did, and I don't know what would have happened to me if I would have not made these friends in Arusha who are staying in Dar es Salaam, who came in the end to rescue me. I don't know what would have happened if nobody would have come there to rescue me. I really don't know. So yeah, I don't want anyone to go through this. This is why I wanted to share my story. And please do not think that everyone in Tanzania is dangerous and I can't go there to do volunteering because of this and that. No, it's not like that. People there are very humble. People there are nice. They are welcoming. It's a very beautiful country. Like, really. You just have to be very careful in choosing an organization for your volunteering, because there are a lot of fake organizations, and if you apply for something, then you have to be 100% sure that this organization is existing. And me personally, I was sure, because the website looked nice. There was even a website for an office in Arusha and everything. There was no bad review about this organization, so everything looked nice. The only thing that I did not check is the Instagram and the Facebook page. I don't know why I did not think of that, but I did not check it. If I would have checked the Facebook page and the reviews there, then I would have seen that the reviews are written by either family members of this guy or people where you can see on the profile picture that they have never been volunteers there. I would have also seen that the person who's always posted there with other people and as founder of that KIVOLEX organization, that his face is not the face that is shown on the website. And that would have probably made me be like, okay, something is very suspicious here. Why is that face not the real face, and so on and so forth. So if you want to do volunteering, Tanzania is a very beautiful country, and I can recommend Tanzania, especially Arusha, but you have to be very careful in choosing your organization.